Hey, what's going on, everyone? Evan and Jordan here from BattleHawk Armory. We are out at the range again today. Today we wanted to take a minute to talk about something that we don't normally talk about. So, low power variable optics, Jordan, people love them. And for pretty good reason. On something like this AR-15, they make perfect sense, right? So, AR-15s are very versatile. You can use them for close range, you can use them out at extended distances, and a low power variable gives you the best of both worlds. So, one of our personal favorites is what we have mounted up here on this Daniel Defense limited series, which is what, Jordan?
So this is a Steiner T6Xi 1:6. One of the great things about the scope, and I think a reason why we like it so much, is it really makes use of all the platform an AR, the AR platform is really capable of. That being, at one times, it has a pretty large ring that is illuminated to help you get on target extremely quickly at close quarters. And then when you increase that magnification, so you go from 1 to 6 or even 1 to 3, whatever you're looking for, the stadia markings will actually become more and more apparent, while at one time they're almost non-existent.
So like you mentioned, first of all is the reticle. So it does use a KC1 mill-based reticle. It does almost present kind of like EOTech kind of circle dot at 1x, given that it's first focal plane. So you have a large outer ring. That reticle is illuminated, and it's illuminated very, very well. It's definitely daytime bright, for sure. It uses a monstrously large battery to achieve that daytime bright illumination. So 1x is fantastic. It's very fast. It's very usable, just like a red dot would be. That KC1 mill-based reticle being first focal plane, what you kind of mentioned, the subtensions are going to be true at any magnification setting that you spin this throw lever to. This throw lever is actually included with the optic, so it's very easy to adjust. Again, subtensions are true. It is a mill-based reticle, so very clean, very simple mill hashes. They are in half mil increments in there, so it's very usable for shooting out at greater distances, or just super useful for zeroing, because our turrets are also mill, so they adjust in 1/10 mil increments. One of the things that I really appreciate about this scope is that the turret for the elevation can be used as a non-cap turret. It does have zero stop, so if you are a person who likes to dial your holds in, you can simply dial in 10th mil increments and use the center of the reticle, which is just a very fine little dot, which is also super useful. If you don't like a exposed turret, you can actually remove this turret and place a cap turret on instead. So very versatile there as well. So it pretty much checks all the boxes. We have good low power use, we have good reticle subtensions and turret for use at shooting out at extended distances. Illumination is fantastic. We have the ability to dial it if we want it. Adjusting the magnification is really easy with this included scope ring. Again, it basically checks every box that you could want out of a low power variable, and it's just not something that we see talked about very much. So we wanted to kind of show it off a little bit today. We'll get it zeroed up on this Daniel Defense Spec series rifle. We'll see what kind of groups we can put down. We're just going to be shooting some PMC 55 grain X-Tac. This is a brand new rifle, so groups are likely to shrink as the day goes on. We'll have a little bit of fun with it, and we'll see what this Steiner T6Xi is all about. All right, so there is essentially what is almost our final group. My first group was about up here. I made an adjustment. I was down here. It's really easy to make those adjustments, measuring using the mill and the reticle, and then just dialing the correction on the turret. And there's our third group right there. We put 3 rounds on the paster, so we'll probably just come up, a 10th mil, and come right as I was, come left probably 2/10 and call it at that. We'll say we're zeroed up. We'll start having a little bit more fun shooting this thing a little bit quicker and see what we can do with the T6Xi. All right, so I just shot a bunch of runs that were under 2 seconds. Had a bunch of alphas. One thing I did notice, the rifle, for whatever reason, wanted to kind of walk low left, which is kind of a new one for me. Hard to say if it's the flash hider, or maybe it's a little bit overgassed or what, but that's not kind of typical of how I normally shoot. But still had a ton of alphas. The scope was really good. I also just really appreciate anytime an LPVO has an illumination setting of 11, just so you can crank that thing up to 11. But like we mentioned earlier, it's definitely daytime bright. It was really easy to kind of focus in on the A zone of this USPSA target for those bill drills. So scope did really well. Rifle, a little bit of weirdness there, but overall, again, I really do like this T6Xi. It's great for using in close and fast, and as you saw, it can also be used to print some pretty good groups out at distance.
right, so just taking a look at my group. Seeing Evan shoot, I did hold a little bit right, so I held over here, and I got most of them in the alpha. I threw a couple Charlies down here. It happens. But the KC-1 reticle is actually fantastic at close range because it has a large ring on the outside, and then that inner crosshair, the inner stadia, actually becomes so small at one time that it almost works like a red dot with a 32 MOA ring. And that ring helps you get on target, and you know that that red dot in the center is your aiming point. So it's very, very easy and intuitive to get on target very, very quickly.
Definitely shot a lot better that time, working a little bit on some target transitions. Again, kind of as Jordan highlighted, that KC-1 reticle really makes it easy to center your actual reticle on the A zone or whatever it is that you're trying to shoot with that large outer ring. You can see on my first target, I had a grand total of 2 Charlies, and then again, swinging this rifle over with the KC-1 reticle, very easy again to focus directly on the alpha zone. I had one drill where I actually overswung basically right here into the Charlie, and you can see I've got those 2 rounds in the Charlie. But again, all of the rest was in the alpha. So T6Xi again works really well for in close with that KC-1 reticle. We really do like this again. This is a lot of fun to shoot. Really like this optic.
All right, so just taking a look at my targets after those transitions. There's definitely a couple Charlies. I got one there on the right and one just a little bit low. But overall, majority alphas on this target here. Like Evan noted, the large circle gives you a lot of confidence. It basically outlines this entire alpha box there, and then you can confirm that smaller red dot is on your target. So it's very it gives you a good feeling, I guess, when you pull up and you see that big ring over exactly where you want it, and then that smaller dot is dead on where you're trying to place those shots. And we can take a look at the other target real quick. And it looks like I only dropped 1 Charlie here, which is, once again, pretty good for me.
All right, Jordan, so just kind of wrapping things up out here at the range with the Steiner T6Xi. Certainly a lot of fun, but are there any kind of parting shots, anything that you kind of want to add on to your thoughts about the T6Xi for today?
I mean, what's on my mind right now is that, well, first of all, this is actually my optic setup. I pulled this off of one of my rifles, and you can probably see the MPS sitting off to the side. That's typically what I've used for closer range engagements and targets. But as we proved today, it's not really necessary. Mm-hmm. This T6Xi does a fantastic job at close range with the way the reticle's set up. It's very easy to acquire and very, very fast, as we both proved. So if you really needed a do-it-all setup and just one package, just one scope, this is a fantastic option.
Yeah, and you know, as far as kind of parting shots go, I would definitely agree. It's an extremely capable optic. You have a really good 1 power, which we definitely showed today. The reticle is super usable for shooting good groups with. The way that the reticle is set up, the way that the turrets are set up, it's very easy to make adjustments as well. Didn't get to do a whole lot of long range shooting today, but I have done that with one of these in the past, and it's certainly capable there as well. And honestly, for what one of these optics costs, it's a super premium scope. Glass is fantastic. Features, it really checks every box, and you get everything you need. So these flip caps, they are name brand Tenebrex flip caps. They are included with the T6Xi. You do get the throw lever included, which we mentioned before, which makes adjusting the optics super easy. Another small touch that I really appreciate is the actual diopter, which is the rear lens that you actually focus to your vision, also locks. We have 0 stop on the turret. You can cap it if you want to. It is a mil-based reticle. We have 10th mil adjustments up top, so you know, illumination is fantastic. Uses a 2450 battery. That's a little bit goofy, but it gives you that super bright red dot illumination. First focal plane, so the subtensions are correct at any level of magnification that your situation calls for. Again, it checks every box. It's super premium. It has every feature that you might ever possibly need. Price isn't crazy. It's really an absolute winner, which is why you own one, I own one, the guy behind the camera owns one, and we just kind of wanted to bring a little bit more awareness to this. So for us, the T6Xi is a fantastic LPVO. Couldn't recommend it enough, and just kind of wanted to highlight some of the features that this scope has. made in the USA.
Yep, that's what I was going to say too. These are all machined and manufactured in Greeley, Colorado.
Yeah.
The cameraman and I actually got to go out and see all these being made, and it was an awesome experience. Steiner Burris guys are awesome. We love working with them, and we love their optics.
Yeah, and the other thing I can add in, personal experience-wise, I'm kind of notorious for breaking things, as you may know, Jordan.
Yes.
Anything that can break, I pretty much have broken. I have broken one of these scopes. Not to say that they're not durable, but I flew across the country with it. TSA does TSA things. I got back home and the optic was actually broken. So I actually have used Steiner's warranty, so I sent it into Greeley, Colorado. I actually sent off a Vortex scope on the same day. So again, I break everything. I had 2 broken scopes, sent them both off on a Monday or whatever the day was. The Steiner actually came back first. So they have a fantastic warranty. They turned it around, took care of my problems, got me back up and running. It's really just, like I said, checks every box. So we hope you guys had a little bit of fun, kind of learning a little bit more about this Steiner T6Xi. We really like these scopes. We hope you guys do too. If you have any questions about the T6Xi, go ahead and leave them in the comments down below. We have a ton of these, so we've got a lot of experience with them. We'd be more than happy to get those questions answered for you. Thanks for watching, everyone. See you soon.